Welcome to Project Pack number 11. This is day 4.
Ooh.
My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and I'm going to show you a little something new and old at the same time. We're going to mark off on our marcus operandus.
So you're going to do both sides and
both sides
ends.
and up and down. And
Yeah. So you'll be very familiar with this after at the end of this project pack. So
Right. So my purpose in doing this is that those lines will be there, not that you're going to plan what you're going to do, but in case something comes up that you can use those lines as a focus.
Like as a reference point. Or, yeah.
Well, for focus, because that's really what you're
Right.
looking to do is to focus on those lines and in those spaces, and I like the idea that they're there, very light. I'm going very light on that, but you can see it, and I'm not sure what I think when I did this tile, I wasn't sure what I was going to do.
I love that. Well,
Came at it with,
that's even better. Yeah. So it's like, okay, here's this special place on this piece of paper.
So
And
I couldn't go through a whole project pack without doing some muka, but I thought, well, I'll do a different muka. And for those of you who have had difficulties with that tangle, I know that people have a love-hate relationship with it, but once you get to know it, you use it all the time. So this is just a different approach to muka. And I know that everybody can do this shape here. It's such a simple shape, and I'm automatically throwing in a little
highlight
there. And then I'm going on the inside of the loop, now the inside of the curve. And if you can remember to do that, you're all set. And I'm going to aura all the way around, starting at that dark shape at the end. So there you have a muka without a lot of
right.
difficulty.
That's so funny because when I first saw it, I'm thinking, oh, it's fescue with an aura.
Well, I guess it could be, yeah.
But that's part of the, I think some of the magic part of there's no like edge between some tangles and another, and how you can, how they share, tangled DNA or something like that.
Well, they all do anyway.
Yeah.
They start to
Right.
intermingle. Yeah, so when you're auraing this, if you can remember to start on the inside of the curve, but it's very graceful, don't you think? It's
and notice again, I keep saying this, it's like, all right, Rick, yeah, turn your tile, but yeah, turn your tile.
So I started out at the bottom at one of the phi positions so that the stems are coming out there. And I marked off a little X where I thought that I would have, maybe a focus. So I'm going to just have this wonderful meditation here with these muka/fescues, and then just keep going until I don't want it to go anymore, right?
And I like how those stems come together because, again, that if you go back and check out a newsletter and also one of the project packs where we talk about the tangle hollis, those all sort of come together in a similar way. So, again, we've got a lot of aura going on and drawing behind.
Drawing behind,
right?
What really makes it three-dimensional, if that's what you're looking for, the more you draw behind, the more interesting it gets. So I'm going to start on the bottom. You can't see it right there, but you will. So now they're coming from another direction.
And it looks like you're just keeping that other spot available.
Kind of open, right?
but still using the idea of those starting points on the ends being that phi ratio.
So you don't even have to go all the way down to the point of the origin of the stem.
Right.
You can
They branch off.
branch off, yeah. But you can see this graceful, almost. It looks like Mucha, only in that Alphonse Mucha's strokes were sort of like that. That they went all over the place and they balanced on the fly.
Yeah.
Just
If you, what we're talking about is the artist, like in the early 1900s. If you look up the name, it's spelled Mucha, and just look at some of the images, and you'll see a lot of the, particularly like some of the advertising where the female models had this long, like flowing hair, and that was the inspiration for Mucha.
right. Alphonse Mucha was a poster designer for then the theater. What's her name? Bernhardt, Sarah Bernhardt.
Did a lot of Sarah Bernhardt.
Did a lot of her, and he worked in the with lithography. So most of his work were prints, and they were just gorgeous. The girls in the backgrounds and
the colors.
Oh yeah. And even though it was commercial, it had he had a following as an artist as well, which was very unusual.
So look at how complex this looks with the drawing behind, yet each one is just very simple and unplanned.
So now I'm adding this almost like support system. Like if you had created this out of wrought iron, you would have gone in these delicate places where they come together and added a little bit of a touch of metal to support it. And I kind of like that idea. You see it in illustration, line illustrations all the time, where they add these little bits of dark to give it more oomph, to hold together. I like that look, almost stained glass look.
And it's also, it doesn't make any sense, because if it's over and under, I love that it's like an inner contradiction.
So now I'm going to go in and put a little focus here. I'm going to add a Bronx chair. And we're not actually covering anything with the Bronx chair, but I kind of like the idea that we can do it when there's no mistakes as well. And so we're going to put in a nice raspberry in
Just
here.
let people wonder what's behind it.
Yeah.
So I love when you draw those orbs, there's this like going over it a little bit, and just this sense of affection and respect for the line. I love watching that.
So I'm actually going to draw this behind that little Mucha thing there, and make it look like it wasn't a afterthought.
So this is probably the first Bronx chair that's drawn behind, right?
Right.
So a little bit of a stem there.
So give this a little moment while I'm doing this, so you can see what I'm going to do right now. Is put the stem in, right? And then I'm going to go back in a moment here.
Just like it got trimmed off there.
Yeah.
Most people pick the berries without the stem, but we pick them, but we keep the stem on them.
So now you can see I'm going to add more of these little parts of the berries around the stem, so it makes it look like the stem isn't coming off the back, but coming off the front. So you can see that. It's just a way of giving it some dimension.
It's a cool technique.
So I'm going to cheat here a little bit and add these little highlights, and then we're going to color in everything but the highlight.
So we've done this so many different ways.
Oh, yeah. Every time I do it a different way.
So if you go back and look at some of the ones that we've done before, you'll see the different approaches. But what's really cool about this is not only is she leaving that highlight untouched, but notice how she's leaving that little gap at the bottom of each of those.
So what that's going to be is like a
berry
low
pods.
light. If you study a painting of a blackberry or anything like that, you'll see highlights and lowlights on each even individual little part of the structure. And what I'm going to do is go in and cover over that part afterwards. So we're going to go in with one of the colors that I have. I have the 3 colors, and I'm just going to aura, but close to the edge, kind of heavy with this color, and then we're going to soften it by bringing it to the middle, to the center, and giving it almost a stained glass look. This is a really easy technique, and yet very nice texture.
And as she's doing that, I'm guessing she's holding the pencil so that there's like a thicker edge develops, so you can lay down quite a bit in one stroke.
So you can see you're bringing it out to the middle, but you don't want to do it heavily so that it becomes all the same. You want the edges to be more paint, more color. So even just that little part near the raspberry to the right of the raspberry has a little bit of technique there, a little texture, light coming through.
It reminds me of those like vases where there's a metal grid and the glass like bulges out around it.
Oh yeah. So here I'm going over that part of the berry I talked about earlier, that low light. And the red will, you'll see that in the red. Kind of just, something a little bit different.
And a little bit of shading around there. The tortillon mixes the graphite really nicely with the colored chalk. So that's something you can play with and get all of these tones in the chalk, not only mixing the chalk with each other, but also changing the light and dark.
So here's my 3rd color bringing in, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the green all around the outside. There we go.
Okay.
And I'm a little heavy-handed here, but not going any faster. If you don't want to lose control. So.
But you're putting down a lot because she's going to then take that tortillon, like you see, and just pull it away. This lovely gradation. No pun intended. And you can work this. She's going over it and then going back over it again, and you can really spend some time on this paper with the tortillon.
So what I want this to do is I want this paper to not look white. I want it to be the palest, beautiful pale blue, like on a wintry day.
Like on blue snow,
yeah,
like how snow looks blue.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over pretty much all of the background just to make it not white.
Right. Well, and that goes to really pop out the white of the Mucha / fescue / Hollis. It's beautiful.
So I'm going in now with a dirty tortillon because that's what I like to do. And what it's doing is that this one that had some blue on it, it's making the colors more complex and a little more sophisticated. I love to work with a tortillon that's already been used in other colors or with graphite on it or anything. Don't be afraid of that. See how that just brings it into a more approachable,
it's not so flat. And,
more organic.
And see, she's going back and picking up
Yeah,
some more there
you
on
saw,
the edge.
yeah, just go in
Right.
where there's a lot of blue, and there I can shade that instead of with graphite. I'm shading it with the blue, and it's subtle. But these little subtle things are what will come out. Make things come out.
It's very charming. And tucking in that there. Yeah, I love working with colors that you have, because I don't know if you would have chosen those color combinations had those not just been randomly in the project pack.
Well, it's more of the elegance of limits. When somebody hands you 3 colors and say, "Okay, do this,"
Right.
you would never have thought of doing that.
Right.
But now you have an assignment. Sometimes an assignment is
what can I do with this?
Yeah, what can I do? Well, have fun with this.
Yeah, and thank you so much for playing with us, and we will see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye.
Bye now. Have fun.
See ya.